watching the clock, 10,000 hours go by. I keep putting in work, the tears are filling my eyes. I swear I've never been tested like this, but this is mine. It's not a matter of chance, just a matter of time. Never look back. If something standing in my way, I always push back. If something seemed impossible, I never took that. Nah, cause now I know better. Can't stop, won't stop, I won't quit ever.
As far as won't take me, the highest fall it won't break me. The blood and sweat is what made me.
I'ma get mine, just a matter of time.
Today's matchup. SK Telecom T1. Kingzone DragonX. MVP. KT Rolster. The Fantastic Run.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another day, the last day of the summer regular split. I'm Achilleos, joined by Papa Smithy, as always. And guys, the end is nigh. There's a storm brewing both outside and in this studio. Playoff standings going to be decided here today, including that first place spot being sought after by Griffin and KT Rolster.
Very easy to have word salad today. The hype is on many different levels. SK Telecom playing in our first series. People desperate to see FLICKR back. Have a feeling we might be seeing him today, but we'll get that confirmation very soon. SKT versus Kingzone, of course, a rematch of our summer final 1 year ago. We will not be seeing SKT play in the playoffs. That part has been decided. They are locked in 7th. Kingzone actually can go up and down based on this result. SKT, they're stuck in 7th, but the good news for them, Afrika Freaks won yesterday. Afrika Freaks knocked out Hanwha Life. That means that SKT will be playing in the Worlds qualifier. You might say, when? Well, after today, it's going to be a long wait for the SKT fans. Remember, the LCK Grand Final is on the 8th of September. That has to have been played to be able to play Worlds qualifiers. World starts in October. We don't have dates, but it doesn't take a mathematician or even someone who works on calendars. Is that a job? Who knows? Sometime in September, SKT will be playing a best-of-5 for Worlds, but for now, that's far away.
Yeah, so a long time for preparation to determine who your opponents are going to be for that regional qualifier when it does finally roll around. But all 5 teams locked into the playoffs. Afrika Freaks going to be guaranteed that wild card match in 5th place.
Let's talk about Kingzone. They want to reach 13 match wins. We're going to have 4 teams at 13 match wins by the end of the day. The highest they can reach is plus 13, so not enough to get above Griffin. If they 2-0, they'll be at 13 and above Gen.G. So that would, of course, help them to skip any matches. Gen.G might actually be forced into the wildcard spot if we see 2-0 Kingzone and 2-0 KT. There's a lot of ifs, though. So Kingzone, for them, it's really about guaranteeing a higher seed. They want to be able to reach up to 2nd with a 2-0. That would only be for now. KT Rolster can eclipse both Kingzone and Griffin with a victory later today. You're seeing some of the conditionals here. If it's a 2-1, Kingzone's actually in a bit of strife because they do not have the head-to-head against Gen.G. So if they finish at plus 12 game score, Gen.G will be ahead of Kingzone DragonX.
Yeah, I mean, Kingzone could slide down into that beginning match of the Gauntlet. And if that happens, we'd have a rematch of our spring finals in the first round in a best-of-3 at the beginning of the Gauntlet with that wildcard match.
Looking at some of the notes here, these are the 6 teams that will play into the regional qualifier because no other teams have circuit points in Korea. See, the top 5 here are the teams that got them from the previous one, and Griffin joining them with a guarantee of at least, I believe at this point, the 50 points. So they will definitely have enough. The seeding will be worked out later. As you guys know, summer winner auto-qualified into Worlds.
Yep.
Also, most circuit points, Kingzone DragonX, KT, FLICKR. These are the teams most likely to qualify on circuit points.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look. The big unveiling, guys. You get what you've been praying for in the chat. The answer is going to be yes. FLICKR is going to be starting for SK Telecom alongside Tall, Blank, Bang, and Effort.
What does it mean is what the fans will ask. Of course, the first response is going to be just complete happiness. FLICKR finally returns to the roster after 6 best-of-3s out of the team. And you might say, it's just because this match doesn't mean anything for SKT. Remember, they have players like Untara, who has plenty of experience in the past, who is not playing today.
Wolf.
They're not putting Wolf into the lineup. They're not just playing some sort of fan service roster here.
Where's
Otherwise,
Leo?
you would imagine they would have all of their long-standing players in the roster. So I think SKT is just trying to tinker. They know they have no more stage experience until they play in over a month's time.
Exactly.
I don't think SKT is giving any free victories, and Kingzone DragonX are desperate for a 2-0.
I mean, SKT, they're going to be the gatekeepers here. They're going to try to shut Kingzone down and potentially put them in that 4th place spot just over the Afrika Freaks, where they'd have to beat them in the wild card match. The Kingzone starting lineup, however, it's become a bit of a standard as of late. We have been seeing less and less of Cuz in the jungle. Rascal making a few appearances in the top lane, but Khan, he's locked in. He's our MVP for the summer split. So he will be starting alongside the rest of the team that you know and love.
And I know I'm focused on the mid laner, the big damage dealer. BDD is back and in fantastic form recently. Azir's around, his Orianna is fantastic. His Zoe also. Everyone's Zoe's pretty good. His Zoe is great. BDD in wonderful form, and BDD versus FLICKR is one of the best mid lane matchups you can get.
Oh yeah, remember casting the debut of BDD all the way back in 2016 when he was playing on CJ. He looked good, the rest of the team not so much around him, but how far this guy has come, and now he's taking on, you know, his big, I don't even know how, I can't even think of words right now.
Senpai?
You know, exactly, his senpai, that's the best way to phrase it. Is his senpai.
Well, the best way to phrase
his idol, you know?
SKT's season is disappointment. 7th spot for SK Telecom T1, the first time they have ever not qualified out of a group stage in any tournament. That is such an insane stat for a run that started in 2013. But SK Telecom T1 have always been one of the big guns of Korean League of Legends. They can still pull off the miracle, do a Najin White Shield, and qualify for Worlds. But is it enough to erase this kind of stain from their name? They will not be in the playoffs for the first time ever, but SKT versus Kingzone should be a hype matchup. Not too much to pick between the KDAs, but KDA and a lot of stats this season have been very misleading. We've had funnel, we've had weird meta.
Yeah.
I don't think you read too much into the KDA. You look at some of the names here. You see FLICKR versus BDD, Bang versus Bray. There's plenty of legends on the Rift.
Absolutely. Just, yeah, given the state of the game, you know, from the start of the summer split, things were in flux for sure, and the KDAs will reflect that. But what wasn't really in flux is the dominance of Kingzone over SKT as of late, going back to summer year of 2017.
And if we ever have that LCK book written about the history of the LCK, it's very weird because of how we feel right now with Kingzone choking internationally, but this was supposed to be the changing of the guard. SKT started to fade away at the end of summer, and Kingzone DragonX have become the kings of Korea, but they haven't become the kings of the world like SK Telecom always represented in that era. And that's why we're in this weird purgatory where Kingzone DragonX domestically have been oh so dominant. They're still gunning for 3 times back-to-back LCK champions, and yet most people look at Kingzone and would prefer to see 3 other teams represent Korea at Worlds.
Yeah, just poor results, you know, internationally, going from MSI, Rift Rivals, etc., not really backing up Kingzone's performance that they have here in the LCK. But key player, it's going to be Khan. He is locked in for our split MVP with 1,100 points. No one can catch him. The next closest person that would have been able to do it would be BDD, but he would need 3 wins. Can't happen.
Mathematically impossible for
Yep.
Khan to not be the split MVP. I don't think you talk about him as reverently now as you did 1 year ago, where he
Sure.
burst onto the scene. in summer of 2017.
When he was the finals MVP.
But if you go
when
back
they
and
won?
watch the tape, not too many of those games were disputed that he was the best player in the game. So 11 MVPs is still very impressive for Khan so far this season. We're going to look at the jungle, and it's, of course, old SKT jungler versus current SKT jungler. Blank versus Peanut. How will Blank perform with FLICKR back in the roster? Everyone and their mother has been intuiting what does Bang and Blank's different performances without FLICKR mean for when FLICKR comes back. We get a data point today. We've only been spitballing before.
Yeah, everyone and their mother, and now their papa as well has been spitballing about.
And probably FLICKR's grandma as well.
That's true. She is wondering about that. See how they're going to perform. See if maybe she can improve his kimchi jjigae skills. But we'll take a look at the fan vote. Lots of fans putting out their opinion here today, but SKT will still edge their way out on top, 58% to 42.
They say match prediction, I say fan vote. SK Telecom T1 and Kingzone have the most fans. The Kingzone fans, you know, they maybe been shouted down in recent months. Meanwhile, SKT, they know they won't be seeing their players for over a month on this Korean stage. We have the LCK final in a month. SK Telecom T1 will not be there, but Kingzone DragonX could be, and they're desperate for that 2-0 today, Achilleos, to guarantee they move up the standings and ahead of Genji.
Well, step one, let's go ahead and get through the draft as we enter in. It's going to be Jace banned away shortly there, answered by an Aatrox from the side of Kingzone, so still not really allowing him to enter onto the Rift.
We saw a game yesterday
Yeah.
of the Aatrox.
It happened.
It was really nondescript in the end. Turns out it's a strong champion, but didn't really see the best of Aatrox from Kuro. We're going to see Kingzone go for the standard bans. And guys, even though SKT can't change in the standings, Kingzone want to get as high up into the top 5 as possible. So this is a very consequential game for them. In Korea, if you finish 4th or 5th, you have to play that best of 3 wildcard. If you get higher, you can skip best of 5s, best of 3s. You get closer and closer representing Korea at World Championships. And look at this third ban from SKT. You see Aurelion Sol banned, a recent favorite of BDD. It also is a champion that people like into Rise. FLICKR has been spamming Rise in solo queue and is a legend on the pick.
Yep.
So do Kingzone ban the Rise or the Tahm Kench with the final ban?
Thinking about it. Running through the options, taking the clock down low, but it's going to be the Vars in the end. So taking something away from Bang always could be that mid lane Vars. We do see it from time to time, but it will be the Rise.
They get the trade. They get the Tahm Kench for the Rise trade. Overall, so Ashe Tahm Kench is going to be locked in from Kingzone. They didn't even think about it.
Yep.
This is considered the strongest bot lane. Blind pick in Korea. We're in a 1-3-1 meta, so that's why Rise and his ability to get through lane is important. But on the red side, now having the Ashe and the Tahm Kench is so much utility. The map hacks of the Hawkshot into the rotational play and initiation that the Ashe provides. SKT, this is again firming to be a very standard support matchup. Expect to see a lot of this in the Gauntlet as well. Braum into the Tahm Kench and into the Ashe as well. Let's see if the draft takes any more semblance of structure from here. Something like Gnar will be contested at some point. That is the blind pick champion to go along with the Rise.
Could like maybe just the Ezreal out here from Bang. We'll go ahead and lock that one in.
Bang was insisting on picking his Ezreal after Viper, because Viper loves the Teemo into Ezreal, but the Ashe is already locked in here. So Bang knew it was going to be a safe spot to go Ezreal. Jungle could be taken, or another role like Gnar and a double ban could come out for Kingzone. I love the third pick on red side because so many different things can happen here. So it looks like we're going to see the Camille flex pick from Kingzone. It was played in the jungle by Peanut. Where do the coverage bans go for Kingzone? That's the interesting part.
Could be either way, yeah. I mean, the jungle Camille for Peanut, one of the few players that can still really play that one out quite nicely. But we know that Khan would be more than comfortable with it as well in top lane. So we'll see how that's going to go as we delve a bit deeper into the draft. But for now, Kennen will be taken away from the side of Kingzone. So maybe leaning towards that jungle Camille at the moment.
The AP Kennen ban against Tal, who of course got that big, massive 5-man engage a couple of series ago. Kingzone could very much have a squishy 4-1 comp going here with Ashe just rolling in the mid lane, hoping not to be exploded by a Kennen. So very standard ban. Now going to be banned away from SKT, so they, like me, also think it's going to be a jungle Camille. Kingzone probably haven't decided one way or the other. Both Peanut and Khan are blessed mechanically and can play the pick. And you take the Camille into a lot of the strong fighter matchups like Kennen and Nars. So we'll wait and see what actually happens. As his top lane pool will probably keep getting thinned out. Second jungle ban going to come through. It's actually Blank's Kindred that he has played well with Pyrian, but the one game we saw with FLICKR, there was a little bit of lack of synergy between the jungle and the mid laner. Still, a classic fallback for Blank.
SKT, do they want to hedge their bets and ban away a jungler as well, or do they really, truly think that this is going to be that jungle Camille?
Just can't know, Achilles. You have to kind of deal with what you want to play on the blue side. We see a Darius ban in past weeks. This would, of course, be a Herald of the Mundo. But Mundo priority being lower for both Khan and Tal in recent memory. Kingzone, what are they going to show us about their draft? Could take the mid lane pick into the Rise here. Vel'Koz is available, for example. That is the Korean answer to the Rise, but doesn't 1-3-1 as well. So actually going to hold their mid laner for longer and reveal that it will in fact be the blind pick Camille.
So it did just take that one for the top lane. So Sejuani locked up for Peanut.
This would be spicy.
Blank.
We've seen no Lee Sin priority by anyone in Korea, and sadly,
I would love to see it.
it's not going to come.
Flipping through the options, he's shown a lot of different things, but we recently saw the Olaf just from Spirit the other day.
They're all fallback picks for him, so there's a lot of different possibilities about what the jungle pick is,
Yeah.
but Olaf is the flavor of the month pick recently in Korea, banned against Ambition, played yesterday by Spirit. People are dusting off their Olaf. The one thing you can say about Olaf, Achilles, really likes to run at Ashe because her utility does not slow down the Ragnarok.
Yeah, not at all. So final pick here for SKT. Know that it's going to be a Camille in the top lane, saving that last pick for mid for BDD. So Gangplank just going to be taken.
Does allow for some rotational play to join the Realm War. Mid lane pick here. This would be piecing together the old faithful from Kingzone. Damage would be a little bit lower if they went the Galio, but Galio priority in Korea has started to fall away. Zoe is available very late into the draft. To be Rise versus Zoe mid lane if we see it. BDD is an excellent Zoe. This is the one that's going to get people to tear their hair out. We will see the Zoe from BDD.
Lock this one in, going up against FLICKR's legendary Rise. Now the question coming in is not so much for me about how this matchup's going to go, but whether or not FLICKR will actually use his skin here on the last day of the regular season. I'm going to guess no.
I think he will.
But it would be very interesting to see if he uses it.
You're right, he's not going to use it. Realistically, he's a man who only uses skins when peer pressured or when someone made a settings issue. Kingzone, very, very strong in the Siege, and if they can get the Camille rolling, they could 4-1 SKT to death. Olaf versus Ashe and Zoe goes really, really well or really, really poorly, depending on how many items Olaf has. He may be able to disregard CC, but they can disregard his health total if he has no items.
Well, guys, the draft is set as we get ready to load in onto Summoner's Rift for game number 1. Kingzone playing to try to climb the standings here, get their way up away from the wild card matchup. If they cannot come up with a clean victory here versus SKT, they could fall as far as 4th place. They certainly want to avoid that. You can see BDD clapping in the booth, getting hyped up, trying to get everybody else energized, get focused on the game.
We gotta get
to try to
focused
take
too.
down SKT.
This is such a hype matchup. SKT versus Kingzone. We entered 2018 with this being the be-all and end-all of the best teams in Korea. A lot has changed since then. SKT, they still got things to play for in a month. They want to make the best performance they can in front of their fans while they sit out the playoffs and watch the other teams duke it out.
Well, it's the last day of the regular season, Papa Smithy. Kingzone versus SKT. I think it's a pretty damn good occasion to get hyped up as we get ready to jump into this matchup. So many Legends of the Rift coming through to play here in this game. Let's see who's going to take the first one, who will take this series, whether or not Kingzone can climb up the standings or if SKT will gate them out. Ladies and gentlemen, let's jump onto the Rift for game number 1.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
Match
Here we go.
89, the 215th best of 1 of the season we roll on to here. A lot of fandom around. We got given some very nice gifts by the SKT fans before the series rolled on. The Kingzone fans holding up these jersey signs here.
You gotta put them below your head though. Unless you're, I guess you're like in the
생성되었습니다.
middle of taking the shirt off, maybe.
They wanted to see FLICKR on Rise, and they're getting FLICKR on Rise.
Yep.
Had plenty of fans complain and bemoan the fact that they came out and did not get to see FLICKR. And of course, in the last 6 best-of-3s, Achilleos, no FLICKR, which was the longest stretch they hadn't both started FLICKR and just played FLICKR. It's been 15 best-of-1s with no FLICKR. That's almost an LCS season, 18 best-of-1s over in EU and NA of
Yep,
no
true.
FLICKR. It's only been 22 days by the calendar since we saw FLICKR play in the telecom war, and yet it feels like an eternity.
Imagine how many complaints there would have been if FLICKR got imported to NA and then just never played, basically.
Well, you know, we complained a lot about Dandy getting imported into the LPL and playing top lane, so I imagine there'll be plenty of people feeling unhappy about that one.
How's Mara doing?
You know, he's not playing so much for TFB Gaming.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and take a look at the lanes here for now. So we're going to have the GP Camille. It's been a long time. You know, for me especially, don't cast as many games, obviously, as you do, Papa Smithy. So seeing this throwback match in the top lane,
It's one of those
gonna
ones
be
where
nice and exciting.
you can go Klepto in this matchup and even without that much jungle attention kind of sustain through, but Tal's gone Resolve Tree probably to keep the lane equalized and stop there being as many pressure lanes on the side of King Zone. Speaking of pressure, with the mid lane pressure being there for the Zoe early, we're actually seeing the counter jungle happen here from Peanut. He's gone blue buff Gromp into enemy red buff here as Peanut. He's level 3 already. Could be coming from the bot side here. He's actually going to first focus on to these Raptors.
FLICKR's cheating over, however. Doesn't throw down a ward, but should have spotted him out. Now Blank's going to be arriving, so Peanut just going to use the smite onto the big Raptor.
He's also playing around his item timing. Notice that most of our Sejuani players will start Talisman to do the AoE camps at a higher health and just a bit easier. He went for Machete, so he's actually got the much faster speed on the big camps. He played to that by doing blue buff into Gromp, into red buff, all them single target camps. Nicely done there from Peanut. Bit of a different path. This top side, as we can see, is much more even than GP versus Camille may otherwise be.
Yep. Well, just holding the barrel here, looking for an opportunity to poke down Con even further. Push forward from Blank, skirting around the vision. Gorilla and Prey. It's cutting up into the river right now to throw down some wards, so gonna be safe. Blank's not gonna find an entry there to that bot lane.
Do really love how Peanut also played the matchup in terms of the champions. Olaf, if we've seen from even just the recent Olaf games we've had, but we remember, likes to stay at low health and power farm his whole jungle, right? He's not looking for interactive plays most of the time. A play like that, where you're super high health, going Machete Sejuani and going for the enemy red buff, you're either going to find Olaf at a low health total, or you're going to get a red buff. So it was kind of a win-win based on the jungle matchup, and with Olaf re-entering the meta, something we should think about. So nice little next level from Peanut.
I'll just TP back into the top here from both laners, Tall and Con. Just going to be rejoining in. Trying to slowly build up those items. Not quite Sheen value yet here for Tall. So resting on that Sapphire Crystals. These guys keep going back and forth. This is a top lane matchup I can get behind with us watching every now and then. A lot of poke coming through.
Can you get behind an Olaf gang? Because you're going to see one.
Yeah, it's going to be Blank arriving. Gorilla flashing to the side, jumping away from effort. He's going to miss the Q. Still trying to make it out of there. Concussive Blow's going to proc in onto the Tom Kenshi. Gets the Grey Health Shield pop. Gorilla still making his exit, and Prey just trying to slow everybody up. Gorilla get tagged finally by that last Mystic shot, but nobody going to go down to get both summoners away from the Tom Kench, however.
Very nice proactive play around bot lane by Blank, and Gorilla had to get his dancing shoes on. If that Q hit from the Braum, they would have stunned him so much further away from his turret, but was able to dodge it, able to live, and now they're turning on to Blank.
Yeah, Peanut jumping in onto the Olaf. Gorilla wrapping around the back. He's just going to be dead. Gorilla arrives, gets the kill steal with the tongue lash and says, thank you very much. First blood goes to King Zone.
Bit of catharsis for Gorilla. He sidestepped the gank and then gets the kill as well. Very nice pathing from Peanut. He rejoined with so many items already. He already had a damn Stalker's Blade and Ruby Crystal. No boots required, like the Olaf that has to go into the Predator and thus pick up the boots. And now Peanut, level 5, looking for mid lane.
Pushing up FLICKR. Lane towards this top side of the river. Going to try to make it out of here, but the Trouble Bubble's going to connect. He'll get slept up. Has level 6, but can he make it out of here successfully? Just going to be sprinting his way out, uses the cleanse, doesn't have to use the flash.
Really nicely played there by FLICKR. He wasn't forced to flash, and they just couldn't quite get the passive built up because only Sejuani builds up those passive stacks for the E. No permafrost, no problem. FLICKR walks away.
Keeping himself alive. We'll be safe with that flash in case we see a repeat gank here from Peanut.
Peanut is so savvy today. Just that, just even popping the sweeper to be able to spot out the deep control ward for vision. So far, he's surprised Blank with the path, counter-ganked Blank, and also cleared away the deep vision, the only good thing SKT had found in terms of the enemy jungle. So that is pretty much the best 6.5 minutes you could have as a jungle Sejuani, I've got to say.
It's been great so far. Peanut stepping back up. We saw a decent amount of Cuz coming through, but seems like Peanut has found his footing again.
Tal is really not liking this CS situation under turret here.
Yeah.
He's not been able to get the sort of equality you might expect in Resolve Gangplank 1v1 against Camille.
Yeah, in Klepto this would be okay, but
He's missed quite a lot of CS under turret as well, so just been some missed auto attacks. As we saw a couple of minions be missed there. So he's having a bad time, Killers. Come on, get this one. Yeah!
all right, the parlay. BDD gets a blue buff. Spotted on his return. Keeping his head above the water here, just inching out over FLICKR as far as the CS is concerned at the moment.
Let's talk about his item as well. He rushed Boots too, which
Yep.
of course keeps the distance on Rise. That part doesn't need too much explanation, but the big reason you would rush Boots 2 over starting to work towards a Lost Chapter is, first, he didn't have Lost Chapter gold on his back, but more importantly, gives more gank threat onto the Rise. Now Sejuani and Zoe with that extra magic pen have that extra chance to get the extra oomph to actually kill FLICKR.
Well, it seems like it's just going to be winning across the board for Kingzone at the moment here. Over the likes of SKT, straight down the line, and every single lane you'll see CS advantages for absolutely everybody, including the junglers and the supports.
Pretty even bot lane, but when Peanut was able to steal away a red buff and the counter gank happened, it's going to be more confidence for Prey and Gorilla. In the mid lane, Zoe has the priority early, been able to get that. Top lane's going a little bit better than expected, but priority was guaranteed. And that's kind of the issue for Blank here, is we have, at best, 2.5 losing lane on his side, and the enemy jungler is already ahead. So there's not really too many good pathing decisions for the Olaf. And remember, Olaf is not Sejuani. He's not a jungle tank who can just initiate.
And
he's really a product of his early game mobility and his early game dueling, and his early game hasn't gone well.
It seems like it's just kind of Kingzone overall. Been very savvy, as you put it, when talking about Peanut. The Hawkshot comes out, spots Blank in that dry brush, and they even had the control ward thrown down in the river. So they just lose that. But otherwise, remaining safe, keeping the advantages here for the side of Kingzone as they move up to nearly 2,000 gold ahead here at 9 minutes.
And that's actually more consequential than in different drafts. If we had a Kai'Sa draft on SKT's side, you'd be like, all right, well, Kai'Sa's going to get there. Consider that if you equate the champions and playstyles expected, SKT are a bit more 1-3-1 because they have the globals and the realm warps. They have the true global of the Gangplank Ultimate and the realm warp as well. But Kingzone are a 4-1 comp. And because there's quite a lot of overlap in how the champions work, and they're both on the utility end of AD carries, Ezreal powerful at 2 items and can poke very well, and Ashe has a lot of map checking ability with the Hawkshot and can initiate, so a bit more on the utility side. The fact that SKT is behind in every lane means that Kingzone are going to hit their win conditions a lot earlier, and that's the struggle for SKT. They need to stabilize, and they need to stabilize soon.
I think Effort might have been thinking about trying to make a play happen there. Sitting on the other side of the wall, but did spot out Peanut. It comes back through, but the ping is down. Seems like they know that Sejuani is in this vicinity. Tal still just taking a bit of a beating here. Pushing underneath the tower, nearly down 30 CS.
He won't be turret dived anytime soon. He has ult, he has the stopwatch, but needs to actually get some decent item timings, or his team has to make a play away from him. This draft is supposed to be Olaf running at Prey and Gorilla and a GP ult coming in. Can they actually make it happen?
Well,
This is what they set up
Olaf's gonna
for.
be sprinting in now. Lands the 1 axe there on a Gorilla. Devour comes down, flashing away, takes him out of the barrage. Now it's going to be the arrow out from Prey, looking for the hit. Ritual Prison not going to connect. Realm Warp going to come through from FLICKR, but he's not going to follow through with that. He's going to be wrapping around the backside. Effort goes low, jumps to the side, keeps himself alive, as does Blank as they flash out underneath the tower. BDD arriving, however,
He's got a Predator.
sprinting his way in. It's the hit. The Unbreakable comes up. Trouble Bubble will sleep up the Rise, but no follow-up to be found, and no one will die.
Big win for SKT. Tal, the only person who didn't use a summoner. SKT really wanted to make the play work. They had the setup, but the flash too easy to disengage from Gorilla. That back up. But Kingzone, they persist on the bot side. The Predator zones away SKT, and they do find a turret, the only objective that rolls down between the two teams.
Go ahead and take another look at this fight, Blank. Trying to start things off. Barrage doesn't lock them up for long enough.
We had just alluded that this is what the draft wanted to do, but because Flash is back up on Gorilla, can't actually cement on the GP ult, ends up being wasted, so maybe should have been held onto for longer. Importantly, Kingzone can't get a kill because FLICKR does roam down first. The Zoe picks up Predator and presses it, just Zoe things, but no kills come in for Kingzone.
Yep. Maybe that tower, though, for Kingzone and the Dragon on the back end. FLICKR just trying to juke out against all of these spells that BDD is tossing at him. Makes his way out safely.
Chopping timing is good from Prey. Gonna walk down bot lane with the Blade of Ruin King, and that laning phase seems to be going a lot longer. Paul was able to, with the turret go down, actually find some CS, but still is in a very significant hole against the enemy, and gotta admit, not a huge fan of the 10-minute cull that he's picked up.
3-man invade onto the blue. As Gorilla roams up with a Tomcat, she'll be in Abyssal Voyage range, is spotted out on a ward, and Effort is here to match. Come over the wall, they start this one up. The buff just gonna come down, they'll smite this one away as Peanut gets it.
So it's a mistake from SKT to fight.
An exit.
Both in terms of the priority we alluded to earlier, Kilios, and just Tal bought a 10-minute cull when he didn't have a Trinity Force, which is saying, guys, 25 minutes, I'm going to be strong. That's when you're Kingzone, you say, oh really, a cull, and you fight for everything earlier and try to punish the scaling from the GP. Get the non-interactive farming time, the GP going to feel really good about the fact that his third item is going to be a bit faster. Usually it's second item with cull, but the cull purchase was late. He's going to accelerate his later build, but it is at the cost of SKT fighting for anything around the Rift now.
Might just continue to bleed objectives here for the moment. Kingzone still inching forward as far as the gold is concerned as they get the Rift Herald here. Peanut picks that one up right as the Scuttle expires, so they'll just go ahead and see the fadeaway Sejuani.
Kingzone could be approaching this map very differently. Consider they can be sending Tom, Kench, Ashe mid lane and trying to push in, but for now they're actually maintaining a 2v2 bot side longer than you might expect when they already got the turret. Maybe waiting for certain item timings onto Prey, Boots 2 perhaps, before he actually goes into lane, but just noticeable that they're not actually using the Tom, Kench, and Ashe on the map just yet. BDD farming out, maybe wants to Ludens himself before he starts to hit the side.
See if there's going to be any more cause for excitement or things are just going to go ahead and slow down. I should mention that.
That's a second series kill.
Yeah, I was going to say, I should mention it now. We'll get to that later. And I'll just get chewed out by the fans in the chat for now.
Well, I'm sure Tal is the one who's getting the most ironic cheers this game, but could still hold the game in his lap later on with the GP. Again, Camille usually faces Klepto Gangplank and wins pretty hard, but don't you often see GP dying because of stopwatch and also the ability to ult under turret. Here it was the resolve tree, so Khan being 23 CS up is more relevant. However, until we see some true advantages out of the Camille, it is okay for the Gangplank for now.
Effort might have went through there unseen, but not going to be finding much of a play on a BDD anyway.
They saw a proto belt. They saw the free proto belt and they remembered all the people that had fallen to free proto belt. Zoe's no electrocute onto BDD. This is going to be summoner area for lane control. FLICKR doing very fine in the lane. He's rank 2 in solo queue right now. He is a legend, so no surprises that on Rise he's looking just fine.
And he's just behind Tarzan, I believe.
Yeah, so rank 1 right now is Tarzan, the jungler from Griffin. Rank 2 is Hide on Bush.
He would like to be rank 1 in Challenger and in the LCK by the end of the day, but we'll have to see if that happens. Not really up to him at this point. Either way, a fantastic run for Griffin through their first split. Absolutely astounding.
On the nose, but also very correct. Kilios, we were right about why Ashe had rotated, wanted Boots 2 before she hit the side lane, but they're making this game real fast. They're walking out to the GP and saying, hey, here's Shelly.
Yeah, trying to amp this up. Barrel's coming down just to try to clear out, but should just be the tower traded up, so an inner for just the outer turret here in the bottom lane.
And it is 2 turrets as well, because they took the top lane turret in the same play. Shelly shouldn't get another charge, does get the auto win, but...
And mid.
Yeah, Rise was roaming around the map a little bit there, so BD gonna get some damage in. Will they greed for the kill? They will. With the redemption, they can walk up.
Yep.
That is a lot of immediate gold into the game, and suddenly, a very long map around the blue buff here for SKT.
Yeah, about 3.6 thousand gold in the lead now for Kingzone. Up that Dragon. Have another mountain coming through shortly. Take a look at the damage. Most of it just going to be the poke coming out from the Ashe and from the Camille in their respective lanes. But Kingzone, they're starting to pick up the pace of the game. But can they close it out? Because we've seen multiple times this split when Kingzone gets this massive lead early on, and then they throw it away because they don't advance when it comes down to breaking up those inhibitor towers. That's when they struggle.
Away from specifically this game, something that comes to mind is a lot of people talk about Rift Herald win rates. You know, if you get the Rift Herald, how often do you win the game? Because of course it usually represents a guaranteed turret. And actually, I'll probably have to phrase this to someone at Riot when it comes to Riot stats, but I'd love to know what the win rate is when you get the Rift Herald and it's not used to get first turret of the game, when it's used for a second or a third turret, if the win rate jumps appreciably high. Obviously, if one team gets the first 2 turrets of the game, they're probably going to win because that's a pretty big advantage. But I want to know if it's exponentially more with the Rift Herald, because the Rift Herald actually got them an entire top lane just being naked. The GP's closest turret is his inhibitor turret, so the amount this has actually warped the game feels very different because the Rift Herald wasn't used for first turret blood.
Well, Mountain Drake going to be spawned. Kingzone already set to pick this one up. There's a ward that spots them out. Whether or not SKT is going to try to contest this seems unlikely here for the moment, as Blank is just going to be clearing out the Raptors on the other side of the jungle.
Tall's white flag is still being waved. Do you think it'd be a pirate flag as they're trying for this?
Well, pushing in, the Realm Warp coming down. Gorilla going to stay safe. BDD tries to answer some damage back, hits that Q to the face. So smattering of damage there on a Faker.
Look at the map control around the Mountain Drake, though, Achilles. Multiple control wards. The blast plant was just hit. Prey can push into the inner turret. SKT can only all in. And when we were talking in the draft about how there was a lot of overlap, the overlap ends at jungle. Because a jungle tank, whatever happens in the game, can throw the ultimate and initiate. What did we say about Olaf versus Ashe and Zoe? If the Olaf is big, Ashe and Zoe are super scared. Ragnarok shuts them down. If the Olaf isn't big, in this case, it is just the Kindle Gem on top of the Cinderhulk, they can just burst the Olaf. And right now, the Olaf is the only champion among the 10 that has no identity 18 minutes into the game.
Well, they try it again, because don't really find anything, so we'll just be the Mountain Drake going the way of Kingzone. So a second one on the board. Ocean going to be the third. Don't expect too much priority to come through onto that from either side, but SKT maybe just to get some objective on the board other than that one tower they've killed.
Scenarios like this, you can either Realm Warp all in, or you can do the honest method, which is get the control wards, try to set up something. You have to keep them very defensive, especially around the area where FLICKR is hit by the Hawk shot, because SKT don't control too much. The Gangplank is still on his white flag raising days, 19 more until the colors cashed in. Item timing-wise, Khan is also building towards a 2-item power spike, so it's not necessarily 2 full items versus 1, but is definitely Khan on the precipice of really opening up the 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, spot on the ward there was Blank, so not going to be able to try to push up to get some sort of gank onto Khan, so he can just exit safely again. It's building up. I mean, Triforce is there for the GP now. Still waiting to cash in on the Cull. But Triforce versus Triforce with Khan with that Tiamat. So, a lot of power on the Camille at the moment.
Kingzone are in Baron territory, you'd have to think, given that they got a lot of objectives early. Baron spawns in 5 seconds, but you look at the state of the minimap, you're like, yes, the Baron set up. The Baron is only just spawning. This is where they will be adjusting their control wards and making this about the Baron as much as possible. They have very strong engage. If SKT try to come through a narrow choke, Zoe and Ashe do fantastic there. The Sejuani as well. So right now, it's about sticking the control wards and then trying to really put that dagger in the heart with a Baron take here that I think would be too much for SKT to bear at this present point. But until that happens, SKT push up and get a bit of farm. And hope they can find a good team fight in the next 5 minutes.
That's going to be a Realm Warp. Looking for BDD perhaps, but nope. Just going to be faking that one out. As FLICKR goes ahead and pulls off of it. So So, no further engage. Didn't know where the backup would be coming from for the side of Kingzone. A bit too risky on that play.
Tal with his Resolve Tree is actually adjusting build. He's going for second item into the Stormrazor here. So he's not going to be going for the Sterix, which is what we would see from a Klepto Camille as a second item, try to take the 1v1 trades. He's going to be going into the Stormrazor for those big crit barrels much earlier into the game. Again, it shows you, hey, we would love to team fight. But it's also something that might just encourage Kingzone to wait for that second item completion on Khan and really try to bust the GP in the 1v1. Because while the Resolve Tree will help, it's certainly no Sterix when a 2-item Camille lunges at him.
Expecting that he's probably pretty close to getting the finish here. On his Hydra, we'll see which way he wants to go. Just going to be clearing things out. Goes back to base. Gets that final wave, so we should see the item completion. A check on the Baron. From the side of SKT, Bang just tossing out the True Shot Barrage to make sure.
You definitely want to go safety first against Zoe Ashe, Sejuani. If it walks up, hasn't used his Unbreakable, so nothing going to happen there. It's like Zoe farted, but that's not what she did. She was actually just exclaiming in a different way. I mean, it did. Am I wrong?
I didn't quite catch it, so I'll take your word for it.
I'm all about reporting what's happening around the Rift. Intrepid reporter, Papa Smithy.
We need a clip of that to verify. We need to get an outside opinion on this. Somebody consult Valdez and Atlas.
Faker pulls back. He keeps wave clearing in again. Game has slowed down. I know the 1 kill to 0 might get some eye rolls on the game slowing down, but in terms of map control and Kingzone being able to blow open the game, nothing has truly happened towards that recently. They've taken the easy objectives, and the harder objectives like Baron require more setup, as we can see. Face check start, though.
Triple bubble. Hitting there on a Bang. He'll leap back. With that arcane shift, Ash Arrow comes through. Throws up the shield as Khan pokes in from the side, or starts to threaten. Realm Warp will come down. 3 members go forward, but this might have been a bad play. Technical sweep, however, not going to connect, but now it's going to be the Abyssal Voyage coming in as they jump into the front. Kingzone looking to take the fight over to the side of SKT. They get the lock up here onto Effort. He might just fall, jumps away to the side.
GP.
Keeps himself out of here. It's the exit. Barely so.
Got
Shot
him!
Barrage! Bang! Finds the hit onto Gorilla. Finally puts a kill onto the board for SK Telecom. A 1-1 scoreline. A lot of back and forth, but Gorilla will be the one to die. Even had to flash.
A nice snipe there from Bang to accentuate a good team fight from the side of SKT. There's only a 2-man engage on the Abyssal Voyage, and very quickly Khan had to disengage from the ult. Didn't have the health, didn't have the beef to back up the aggressive play. They couldn't turn it into kills. BDD couldn't set up a BDD.
Now. Double bubble. Gonna go golden. Paddle star perfectly timed, and BDD will find the kill. Prey, even with his cheeky little red buff seal, not gonna get kill credit there.
Playing around Vision, they were getting the push in bot lane as well. Tal too bold, walking up, and that scenario, flash up, didn't matter. On the side of the GP, we're gonna watch the replay. It's all very interesting, because we see the chunk out onto Bang at the start. The Ash Arrow used, cleanse is blown, some summoners are down. The Realm Warp here is to jump onto Khan, but optimistic given the CDR onto the hookshot already. Watch the backline play here. They dive in with the Sejuani, but Braum disengages, good start. Camille instantly has to move away. They get no value out of how big BDD is. This is not a fantastic setup from Kingzone at all. SKT almost super punish it. They get the 1 kill, nicely done. Accuracy from Bang on his ultimate there, no issue whatsoever. But the answering kill from GP does dampen the sails a little bit.
Yeah, it was a nice little way to inch back into this game, but then Tal gets killed. So, unfortunate here for the side of SK Telecom. But the gold lead hasn't grown that much for Kingzone. 3,700 at the moment. Now SKT looking to get their first Drake on the board, but Kingzone working their way over
They're
here.
so far away. But the SKT don't have full information. They don't have any information, so they have to give it up. Depressing for the side of SKT, but we know they were running down the mid lane. Turns out SKT couldn't know that.
It's at least just an Ocean Drake, so as far as the passive is going to be concerned, it's not that much of a concern for SKT, but Elder Dragon stacks are going to be the big worry.
And we can, again, speculate on comms, which is something I like to do to really show the viewers why this play happens. Consider, all right, let's take the Drake. I think they're out of position. There's the Camille. She's walking up. Where is the pick CC from Sejuani Ashe? We have no idea. That's why you have to pull away. If the Ashe is there, if the Wombo CC starts, you just die, and you look silly trying to get an Ocean Drake and dying. That was going to be a post-game thread, most upvoted comment. Lost the game for the Ocean Drake. SKT pull away, they show respect, but obviously would have loved to find something in this game.
Right now, trying to advance their vision line, working closer and closer to that Baron. 4 members of King Zone hovering around the top side of the river, and they're just going to start it. It's complete darkness here for the side of SKT. Bang doesn't have a true shot barrage.
Spotted here, so 1 blue trinket used. No blue trinkets available. They can use the GPO and the Realm Warp to check as well. As your ultimate on cooldown is Blank.
Oh, Blank just going to get jumped on here. He's left up, shield comes through, wants to hold on to that Ragnarok, but now he's got to pop it as that Glacial Prison comes down. Runs his way out, will stay alive, will keep the flash, but now a no ult Olaf. King Zone, if they go back to the Baron, they could block Blank out of the pit.
Bonanza value, though, out of the Braum. This is the new Braum summoners we see out of lane, by the way. We had Exhaust Cleanse at the time. You see Exhaust Heal, Cleanse Heal. He doesn't need Flash. He's not going to engage, and he's all about defensive utility. There is FLICKR using the Realm Warp, as we mentioned, so that's another tool used to check. GPO is available as well. But it's weird. No Flash. Braum is becoming meta as well.
Is that ult available? Now you have to really question that one. The ultimatum going to come down. Tall going to get locked up, and yeah, he's got really nowhere to go. He'll throw down the barrage, but it's just a matter of time before Khan gets that killing blow. 3-1 now. The score on the board for King Zone. That many people into the bottom lane, however, they can't immediately go back over to the Baron.
If the Olaf was 5-0 and could just disregard Baron damage, you can make that play. But the Olaf is not strong enough as a 1. The Baron speed is not fast enough. So they will pull away. Didn't mention this, but Bang actually adjusted his build and didn't finish the Trinity Force or the Iceborne Gauntlet.
True.
He's gone Blade the Ruin King and Muramana earlier. Last time I saw this build was in the LPL years ago. There was times where when Blade the Ruin King was at its full power level, if you remember, there was a patch, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 2 years ago, where Blade the Ruin King was insane. Faker's playing around Vision, but he's spotted.
He's going to try to lock down a prank. It's a bit of damage there onto the Ashe, but he'll go golden. Now Faker trying to juke out against 3. Now 4 members, flashes away. Pops the shield. Glacial Prison not going to connect, but it doesn't matter. The Ashe still finds the final blow. 4-1 King Zone, advancing with yet another kill on the board. BDD cheats forward, gets the sleep there on the Blank, who will yet again have to use the Ragnarok, as he very sadly works his way back over towards this inner tower, the remains of that inner tower, and will recall. King Zone, on the other hand, however, will be starting up this Baron, and they should have it.
Love the hide on fog play from Faker, maybe a new Smurf name for him. Here comes the teleport in from the GP. They're trying to fight Baron at 2000.
Low, Tall going to be arriving. Several members of King Zone falling quite low here into the pit. Gorilla going to go golden. BDD down below half, as is Khan. Prey getting poked out. Tall finds one. Peanut's going to die. There's no smite. Blank goes golden. Tall finds his second one. Gets rid of the top catch. They're actually trying to turn this one around, but Prey over the backside of the wall. Shooting back in. The Baron's going to finish off Tall. BDD, he finds 2. The Baron going to survive. No one gets it.
BDD actually kills the enemy jungle with a predict bubble over into the flash distance of the Olaf. That was insane play there from BDD. He knew the flash was up and predicted his flash over to commit for the smite. Very nicely done by BDD. The Baron does not go down. Plenty do around it. The moment they try to turn, when they're mostly behind the pit and take increased Baron damage, this could have gone oh so wrong for King Zone.
Look, BDD here, yep.
They tried it. The call is to DPS Baron and go over, but he actually predicts the path of the flash with the trouble bubble. Very, very smart from there. Tall goes down. Actually killed by the Baron. Amusing stuff. Baron not dead, but the kills go the way of King Zone.
Absolute insanity. Prey trying to find a snipe there onto Faker. Almost did a snipe. Like I'm James Bond.
Shaken, not sure. Well, you can be whoever you want today, Achilleos. The fans are just here to watch some of the 2 of the most famous squads around the world duke it out. SKT, slow start, but King Zone haven't been able to close the game. The gold lead is still only at 4,000.
Realm Warp down. 4 members pushing through there as they try to get a lock in. On to Prey. He's got the Guardian Angel sprinting after him. Barrage comes through. Abyssal Voyage to the side. Gorilla trying to get into Devour range in the meantime. Effort's going to get locked up in the back of the fight. He jumps to the side. Gorilla flashing out. Might be sacking his life to save Prey, but BDD answers back. Finds one as Effort dies. Prey dangerously low. Doesn't have the Ash Arrow. Doesn't have a flash. Can't really play forward. Just throwing down these volleys to try to slow the members of SKT.
SKT fighting this manner where they use the Realm Warp is really stopping any value out of the Zoe, who finds it so much harder to fight when the fight isn't on her terms. Her team was winning. You would think this game would be about Zoe and skirmishing. It hasn't been. Ray teleporting back in. They want FLICKR.
Around for a while here, but the ult's still not up for the Ashe. So no stun to be found. FLICKR will be able to exit, has Blank here for some backup. As Khan doesn't want to push in, trying to go for a 1v1 versus top.
If you were SKT and 20 minutes ago you knew that you would have a 3-item gangplank and the Baron would never have been taken, you would have taken it, Achilles. The early game was rough. Kingzone grew a very big lead. It was 4 turrets to 1, but it's now only 5 turrets to 1. And the gold lead hasn't wavered in the better part of 20 minutes. So while Kingzone can definitely still find the right fight where they get value out of Zoe and win, there's an element of creeping doubt that wasn't there 20 minutes ago, and GP is close to fully being online.
32 minutes, no Barons taken yet. Final Dragon going to go down. Elder going to be on the way. It's 4 buffs for the side of Kingzone.
Zeke's Convergence is up for prey for a while now. It's worn by the Sejuani. The Guardian Angel is down.
For the paddle star there, but Effort has the Unbreakable. FLICKR gets the tower.
Yep. 4,000 gold game. Prey no GA for the next fight and didn't go Infinity Edge. Just going for the GA for the win more and wasn't able to fully get value out of it in the previous fight.
No GA, no flash. I mean, he basically has to just play all the way in the back.
Latest Trinity Force timer for an Ezreal goes to Bang this game. Now finally going to be picking up that item. He's had other focuses. He tried to be an auto attack Ezreal this game and threaded in the Triforce now at 32 minutes in. Wasn't a poke game for SKT, so the poke value of the Triforce certainly wasn't as important, and when they didn't have a Trinity Force or a GP that could fight, they did not lose the game straight out, so not punished for the item choice. Multiple control wards on Baron, but until that Scuttle goes down, all Kingzone can do is try a bit of sleight of hand against SKT.
All right, now SKT pushing in. They want this mid tower. Abyssal Voyage up from Gorilla just to be joining in. Trouble Bubble not going to connect. The wave can get cleared out very rapidly here. Ashe Arrow coming down. Locks up FLICKR. Now Glacial Prison in onto Effort. He'll fall down to about half HP. Jumps back to the sand behind me to keep himself alive. Another Trouble Bubble in. Finds FLICKR as they try to play forward, but the Paddle Star connects. FLICKR takes so much damage, and Effort goes down. Exact Ultimatum in. That's going to be a double kill going over to Khan, and now Kingzone just let SKT exit with the remaining lives that they have and turn over towards that Baron.
That's the problem of fighting in the open. Suddenly Zoe doesn't have to wonder who is in every unwarded brush. They get more value out of her. The engage does stick. Cleanse not available, I believe, for Effort at the time. This time they start on the Baron, and SKT, can they stop it?
Pushing forward. They're looking for the fight, but the Baron will be going the way of Kingzone for now. Tactical sweep connecting in onto Tal. He's trying to cleanse off that slow. Goes so dangerously low. Gets a nice barrel in onto BDD. Takes him down to about half, but Kingzone now with the Baron buff still pushing forward fairly fearlessly.
Big CC's on cooldown, but the death timer is late in the game. Means that Blank hasn't respawned. Instant explosion on the low health mid lane inner turret. But no other easy objectives just yet for Kingzone. They want to go back. They want to shop a final time. They'll be looking to break the base on this Baron.
And this is in the past where they faltered, is trying to get into these inhibitor towers. Now they have the Baron to assist. We'll see if they can get over that line. They've been better about it as of late.
It's a very multi-layered point you make there, Achilles, because in the past, in team comps like this, as that is going to be the red buff secured by Bang, they have been able to do it very easy, but this season, with the Kindred, with the awesome dudes in the bot lane, you're right, there has been games where Kingzone had a big lead at 15 minutes, but couldn't close the game by 37. That's why I think Kingzone are so happy to see this meta return. They have junglers, they have initiation, they got marksman, and now they got top.
Yeah, he is just going to get taken down here. Ultimatum in, nothing that the GP can do. He's not there for the follow-up as well, so just another kill handed over to our Summer Split MVP.
A marksman, a Tom Kench comp, and a jungle initiating tank means 1-3-1 and Baron buff to be able to take down turrets. These are the tools that Kingzone didn't have earlier in the season that fit the meta now.
Trouble Bubble going wide. Kingzone bringing up the mid and bot lanes into these inhibitor towers, and now SKT, they have the split, they have the side where they wanted to bend. Ashe Arrow goes through, gets a hit in onto Effort, he'll fall low. And that's going to be a deep dive into the back here from Khan. Goes golden off the bat. As that Glacial Fissure comes down. Inhibitor number 1 going to get taken. Kingzone wrapping back into the mid lane. SKT, can they defend this? It seems so unlikely.
10 seconds, so probably wouldn't be able to end the game if they tried to rush the Nexus before GP spawned, and the crit barrels come up and things get complicated, so Kingzone say, no problem. We're going to take the 2 inhibitors and back away. A 4-stack Elder is on the menu in 1 minute 30. That is going to be terrain patrolled by Kingzone first, and a lot more kind terrain than, in fact, trying to dive the Nexus.
3 towers, 2 inhibitors. What they're going to be finding here.
SKT trying to get as much advanced vision before Kingzone can finish their shot and walk up for the Elder. There's actually going to be flanking vision for them here, but it's not the sort of flanking vision they have an AP cannon to punish. It's more about the pick and also knowing how many of Kingzone's members are close.
Faker spotted by that hawk shot, but he will be able to make his way out. So just going to be going on the retreat. Elder Dragon up in 55 seconds. SKT, they can get a recall in. Try to rush back and test that objective, because if Kingzone get that Elder, it's probably lights out in game 1.
Does feel that way. Suddenly, the Zoe and Ashe are even more of a threat when it comes to poke. And it would mean that Sejuani and Tahm Kench can do some brawling of their own. So it is something SKT can't afford to give up. Kingzone just playing the map, though. 1-3-1 with Tahm Kench. This was the surrender that Kingzone was able to receive. They did not ban away the Rise after the obvious ban from SKT to first pick it. And now, the Zoe is also doing some orbital nukes of her own.
Yeah, you know, does a lot of damage. Ash Arrow going to go wide. Does hit in the background.
That's actually consequential. They can walk up here.
Drop Rush comes down trying to clear out the wave, but the tower is still going to be falling, and now Kingzone are looking for this 3rd and final inhibitor, and they're going to have it. A couple more hits to take this one down. SKT can't play far enough forward to dissuade this, so Kingzone will just net it. Super creeps in every single lane. Just those Nexus towers standing between Kingzone and this game 1 win to try to slide up the standings. Abyssal Voyage over. Elder Dragon going to be started. SKT, is there anything that they can do?
You would have to think no. The 2 HP memes may come out, though. Where's the Gangplank ultimate is all you could really ask, but then they won't have it for a potential end. We see it used.
Oh my god, he actually takes it away! You joke about it and then it happens! Tull! He's been the punching bag for Kingzone this entire game! But with the barrage!
Don't
he
let your
actually
memes
gets
be
it.
dreams, SKT. They did it, but is it enough to change anything?
I don't know if it's going to be the Olaf. It's still going to get taken down. Khan finds a hit, so maybe the steal means absolutely nothing. But at least it's a slight reprieve. It's a feel-good moment for Tull at the end of the day. But now they have to defend the base.
Well, Kingzone are walking up. It is, of course, no stacks. It is only the base damage here from SKT.
Faker
but it
still
is a
doesn't lock
hope.
the Gorilla. Ashar comes down, Faker. Trying to sail line, flash to the side, Shield's gonna get popped. He doesn't get caught by that Glacial Prison. He's still trying to exit into the back, but he's not gonna get the opportunity because BDD finds the kill. Effort as well, going to be falling down. It was a nice little steal. It was very cute, Tull, but in the end, seems like it's not gonna matter too much. Bang, gets that Mystic shot in. Hops the Guardian Angel, taking that one away from Khan, but the rest of Kingzone are in onto the Nexus towers. They take those down. They will get the Nexus. SKT suffering a loss here in game number 1. A trade back, finally giving BDD his first death right at the end of the game, but 15-5, Kingzone, they close it out in game 1.
Unfortunately, the kryptonite of KT Rolster is in fact the 2 HP, but the 2 HP inspired steal is not enough to actually beat Kingzone in game number 1. Very clean performance by Kingzone at the start, but SKT with Faker did get a lot more into the old SKT territory of being very solid in the mid to late game, in spite of their GP being woefully far behind, in spite of the different build coming through from Bang. They held on. The game was tense at the end, and for 7th place versus an aspiring first place team, that is something to talk about for SK Telecom T1, but their fans want a victory to talk about. They want to gatekeep Kingzone from jumping above Gen G. The only way that Kingzone can do that is a 2-0. The 2-0 is not guaranteed.
They could stop them still. SKT, we'll see how they're going to bounce back as they get ready to go into game number 2. Given the form that we've seen from Kingzone recently, this was maybe a stronger performance than we would have anticipated for SKT, especially given the way that things had started off. So they were able to try to level up, to kind of level out the game, slow things down for Kingzone a bit. But these guys have been so informed. Peanut especially, despite missing the smite there on the Elder Dragon, has been wonderful. His early pathing, shutting down Blank, getting that triple buff off the bat, absolutely stellar from him.
Very fun game between Kingzone and SKT. Kingzone desperate for that 2-0. I imagine the roster will stay the same. I don't know. I think we'll see FLICKR subbed out for game number 2.
Do we have a replay? I want a replay of
No replays just yet. I imagine it was the epicenter, because by now there will be multiple upgrades onto the GP Silver Serpent. So imagine that's how it happened. I would love to see if it was 2 HP, then that would just be that'd be mind-blowing.
Perfection.
But I don't think that's going to happen. Looking at the numbers here, it turns out Zoe's a pretty good champion. She was open till the final pick. Couple of different ways Kingzone could have gone. The Galio, if this was the same game, would have had that no damage concern as the game crept so late, but Zoe able to put out the big damage late. Kingzone DragonX, they squeak over the line, but they'll wish it was easier in game number 1.
Yeah, considering how many people BDD was able to snipe with that Zoe, I think the Galio could have led to a different story. But guys, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, game number 2, we'll see if SKT can shut down Kingzone's hopes of surpassing Gen G.